Oh, I'm on. No one told me. My next guest invented a fictional character some years ago, is possibly more famous than his creator. Nero Wolfe is a super sleuth, as you know. He's supposed to be the best detective in the world, lives in a brownstone on West 35th Street, and he's in a class with himself, like the masters from Sherlock Holmes to Monsieur Dupin and all of those cats. Rex Stout is quite a colorful figure in his own way, the creator of Nero Wolfe. He's president of the Authors League of America, a man of many commitments. Gourmet cooking is one of his specialties. And in current biography, I noticed that he was born in 1886. I'm happy to report he's still going strong. There's a new Rex Stout, Nero Wolfe, out now. Will you welcome a prodigious and prolific gentleman, Rex Stout. I meant to have an orchid here for you, but slipped my mind. Do you ever resent the fact that certain critics feel that your form, the mystery, is a minor form of literature? I know Edmund Wilson wrote a piece called "Who Cares Who Killed Roger Ackroyd" or something like that. Well, does that bother you?
Well, how did you know that he wrote that before you were born? I think that was a long while ago.
I've lied about my age.
Well, that attitude to mystery stories is just one form of snobbery, and you don't argue with snobs. They're just snobs, that's all.
I see. Hope you're watching, Wilson. How many Nero Wolfes are there now? I know that it's a list about that long, but I don't know how many are in it.
Well, there are 34 book-length stories and 36 or 7 shorter ones.
How do you plot them out? That's what I guess everybody would like to know. Whenever you read one, there's always a dilettante feeling of how fun it would be to write one of these, but when you get down to it, I'm sure it would be very, very hard. Do you know where you're going and when you start out?
When I start, I haven't the faintest idea.
Really?
I know one or two things about the story, but what they're actually going to say, no, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there are two ways, any kind of a story, a detective story or any other kind. There are really two ways to do it. One is to have an idea about who your people are and the kind of things they're going to do, and then sort of let them take over.
Mm-hmm.
And quite a few of the best storytellers have told stories that way, but others will write a complete outline, 20,000 words of the whole thing, giving every little piece of action, everything but the dialogue. Well, it isn't so. I think that one way is better than the other. It just depends on how you like to do it.
But you will sometimes write yourself into a corner and then see how you can get out of it?
Do you play chess?
No, I don't.
Well, once in a while, playing a game of chess, you'll get yourself in a corner. But if you're any good at all, you won't do that. No, I don't write myself into a corner.
You don't?
When I was 7 years old, living on a farm in Kansas,
right,
I painted myself into a corner of the kitchen, and that taught me a lesson.
Not to live in Kansas.
No, not to live in Carolina. Right.
We'll get postcards about that. I know you're sore about the copyright laws, and I didn't find out why. Here's my chance.
Oh, Lord, how much time have we got?
Mo, take 10 seconds.
Good.
No, we have time.
No, the copyright law in this country,
yeah,
our domestic copyright law, was passed in 1909, 60 years ago. And it says that if I build a house or make a table or make a chair, then it's mine.
Yeah.
It's mine for good. If I die, I leave it to whomever I want to. But if I make a book, it's only mine for 28 years.
How'd they come up with that number?
Because I don't know. Probably pull it out of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what the copyright law says. It belongs to me for 28 years.
You mean someone could make a movie now out of a book you wrote 29 years ago?
Now, if during that 28th year, if you're not in an insane asylum or something,
mm-hmm,
and if you're not in Asia and remember things, you can renew for another 28 years.
Oh, I see.
So that's a total of 56. There are a lot of important new things in what we want is a revision of the copyright law, but the most important one is that the term of copyright will be not forever, as the table or chair or house would be, but for the life of the author plus 50 years.
Seems fair.
And that's the most important single thing in what we are after in the revision of the copyright law.
Yeah. Are you aware of the theory that... I'm sorry, Eartha.
I was going to ask, suppose you write a book, like we were talking about before, and
Yeah.
certain parts of the book is censored, and then you want to republish the same book again. Could you do that under another name? And then there are just some of the story parts of the story is
Oh,
different.
you mean, would you still own the copyright?
Yes.
Oh, yes, because the original copyright would cover that. Sure you could.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Try it. Try it once.
Okay.
Are you aware of the theory that's made the rounds that Nero Wolfe is the illegitimate son of Sherlock Holmes?
That has been said, yeah.
You mean I didn't think that up?
I meant it's been said by you. Just
Oh, yes,
now.
just now. So that's where I heard it, eh? Yeah. There's no truth to this, I hope. Although it could be possible, couldn't it? Because after the Reichenbach Falls, or whatever it was, Holmes was not seen for a while.
I suppose, but I just don't know. I wasn't there that night.
No? Well, I have evidence that he was in a motel with Irene Adler.
I thought you. Well, you can be sure it wasn't a motel because there weren't any then.
There wasn't even an Irene Adler. I made that name up.
Right.
Well, there was an Irene Adler. We're going to hear from her descendants.
Speaking of Sherlock Holmes, there's an interesting little fact about him that has some bearing on whether mystery stories are a minor form of literature. Of all the hundreds of thousands of characters that have been created in fiction in the last 300 years, both in the drama and in narrative, in novels, by far the best one known all over the world is Sherlock Holmes.
Is that so?
Well, it's too bad that the stories about him aren't literature, isn't it?
Yes. I
Kind
think
of
they're going to have to be
pity. Well,
redefined.
We'll just have to grin and bear it.
You wrote a book once in which the actual FBI figured, and J. Edgar Hoover, and used
Yeah.
all the real
Yeah.
names and people. And I know the FBI is very conscious of its image and what's written about it and all. Did they cooperate with you in the writing of this book?
And J. Edgar Hoover wrote it.
Go on.
No, did they cooperate with me?
I mean, did you...
Well, obviously you haven't read the book, or you wouldn't ask that question.
I thought I'd trap you by painting myself into a corner. No, I haven't read the book. My copy was stolen on the subway. How do you like them apples?
They went around stealing them all over the country.
It really was. It was a friend of mine found it. It's got a green cover and paperback. I started it, and it was taken on the IRT. In fact, I've been taken on the IRT a couple of times. What's the name of that one?
The doorbell rang.
Right. I'm reading the one now about the lady who's looking for her father. What's the title of that?
Naturally, it's called The Father Hunt.
That's right. Just wanted to see if you knew. Are you interested in orchids, or is it just your friend Nero Wolfe? Do you
I have about 220 house plants, and only 10 of them are orchids. Not that I have anything against orchids, but they're just orchids are so darn fussy. They're almost as fussy as women.
Yeah.
And
Much prettier, though.
yeah. Well, now wait a minute.
Well, I'm thinking of those ones in the subway.
Oh.
The orchids, I mean, not the wimp. You know those orchids you get in the subway, and they've put glitter and false diamonds on them and all of that?
Who gets orchids in a subway?
Dick is in a corner. He doesn't know how to get out of it.
The question is, who gets orchids in the subway? Winos on their way to a prom. I don't know. It's not bad. Oh, I can amuse myself endlessly. We'll be back after this message.